Hello and welcome to the Dad and Buried podcast. As always, I am your host, Dad and Buried. Sometimes known as Mike. Sometimes my kids call me Mike, and it is very disconcerting. And I know that you don't appreciate that disrespect. Pete, my co-host.
I don't mind the disrespect when it's happening to other parents.
Right.
I'm actually okay with that.
It only makes me think of Brandon Walsh calling his parents Jim and Cindy on 90210, and I think that dude is such a loser. It really bothers me. And it's like an Eddie Haskell thing. Did he call her? Maybe he didn't call her.
You're saying Brandon Walsh was a loser? Did you not watch the entire series? He was the protagonist, and he dominated.
Yeah, Dylan was by far the best part of that show. The coolest guy, most realistic character. His dad blew up in a car explosion, obviously.
I'm pretty sure you mean Justin Silver. What was the guy's name?
David Silver.
David Silver.
My doppelganger.
Yeah. Doppelganger means
that
someone
confused.
Looks and acts the same. You just you have more in common with
the same? Does doppelganger act the same? I think it just looks the same. No.
You and Ian Ziering have more in common than David.
Well, I saw Ian Ziering. I went to St. Lucia before my first son was born, and we went to like a fish fry off island. Like you took a little boat there, and Ian Ziering was there on honeymoon with his new wife. And it is literally, first of all, my wife knew him, used to run into him at a restaurant. They were both regulars at like a breakfast place in LA when she lived there, and they ran into each other repeatedly to the point that they knew who each other were. We saw him there, and it's one of the biggest regrets of my life that I didn't go get a picture with fucking Steve Sanders.
With Ian Ziering.
Yes, and my wife would have said hi to him. It just would have been amazing, and it's really probably the biggest regret of my entire life.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're never gonna get a bigger star of Sharknado.
No. It wasn't about him being a big star. It was about just how funny it would be to get your photo taken with the only person on the show who was more of a loser than Brandon.
Man. You really mapped.
You love Brandon. It makes sense. Look how clean cut you are. You're a real Boy Scout, Brandon type. So look, hold on a second. We're not here to talk about TV because tonight I'm very pleased to announce that we're going to be talking about movies, and I love to talk about movies. In fact, so much so that some people call today, the night we're recording, Cinco de Mayo, but I don't call it Revenge of the 5th because that's really stupid. And I think Star Wars Day, which is on May 4th, I think that's stupid too. May the 4th be with you. Do you like that? Do you celebrate that in your family?
No, of course
we
not.
Watched Return of the Jedi.
We barely celebrate Mother's Day, which is also coming up. So happy Mother's Day to everyone who's out
you're
there.
right. It is coming up.
Because there are some mothers that are listening.
Last year at this time, we ran our infamous Pet Moms Aren't Real Moms episode.
Infamous. Yeah, that really set the internet on fire.
You know what? I'm going to share it again, and maybe it will this time because I had a lot of fun. Got a death threat.
Yep.
That was just from one of my memes. That wasn't from the podcast episode. But hey, one of these days we'll get a death threat from the podcast episode. It'll be even more special.
Perfect.
So we're going to talk about listeners, people's favorite movies, right? And movies they're excited to show their kids, movies that they did show their kids and what happened, whether it was a good reaction or a bad one. And then we'll talk a little bit about movies that they saw when they were kids that impacted them, or maybe their parents took them to one too soon. I've said a couple of times, my parents brought me to Aliens this summer, I think before my 10th birthday, which if the movie Aliens were out now, there's no chance I would be bringing my kid there.
I thought it was your 24th birthday.
No, that was Showgirls.
Oh, okay, got it.
My parents brought me to Showgirls on my 24th birthday.
Wow.
You know, never seen Showgirls?
You've never seen it?
One night in college, all of us were we went to the Ground Round in Cleveland Circle, which is near BC, and we were all going to the movies afterwards. And half of us, or most of them, there were 12 of us went, and 9 of them went to Showgirls, and me and 2 other dudes, one of whom was religious and didn't want to go see Showgirls, went to see Seven, which I couldn't wait to see. I couldn't wait to see it. I was like, screw Showgirls, I'm seeing Seven. And that paid off. It was a great decision.
First of all, I love so much about that story. Mm-hmm. One, the fact that you were rolling 12 deep in college.
Freshman year of college.
Amazing.
It was freshman year. It was
and
like
just
the first
hey,
month.
everybody. Yeah, it's so good.
Like September.
it reminds me of like kind of like a middle school pack of kids. It's like, hey, let's go see.
It was at the beginning. Nobody, like, you didn't have your little crew yet. It's still freshman year. Part of the fun is hanging out in big groups.
Going to see Showgirls, yeah.
Well, I didn't go. You know what? I'm not a pornographer.
Well, you weren't then, but you've really come into it now. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and we got a lot of comments. And it's funny because there's a fair amount of uniformity in, like, there's one particular movie I think that got mentioned a lot about, like, people who loved it when they were kids and they can't wait to show their kids and that kind of thing. So we'll get into that. But before we do, we want to thank everybody for supporting us, whether it's with reviews on Apple or just subscribing and listening. And then the handful of you who give us a little bit of money, we really appreciate that. Let's run through that list as we always do. On Anchor, it's Ryan Miller and MS Babayan. And on the single dad tier for Patreon, it's Check Your Kids at the Door, Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno 1980, Mallory McKenzie, Miriam and Tina Davis. The dad bod tier, Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Geiger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, Morning Glow. The father figure tier, Cotton Farmer AZ, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, Julie McCarthy, Paula Polsky, who contributed this week. And World's Greatest Dad tier, Mary Williams and Julie Burton, who apparently just showed her kids Meet the Parents. And now her daughter is calling her Fokker all the time.
That was a
But I
huge
mean,
mistake.
I feel like that's not like, it's not inappropriate to show your kids Meet the Parents, right? They might not get it. They might not be interested in, like, the social dynamics at play because that's what's going on. But, like, odds are your kids heard, but your odds are your kids have heard Fokker or Fucker, you know, by the time they're 6, right?
Well, certainly in this household, they have.
So that was she, because I'm in a couple of groups with her on Instagram, so I know that she never sees movies and didn't watch any movies. So, like, maybe that is, like, really risque for her. Meet the Parents. I saw that on a date. I remember who I saw a lot of the movies I went to with. Saw that on a date with my 31-year-old boss when I was 23. Almost got in a car accident in the parking lot, and some guy confronted me in the theater. Hey, man. That was fun.
Wow, this is all on the same date?
Well, there's only 2 things that happened. We almost got in a car accident, and the guy who almost hit us got mad at me inside the lobby.
But you also went on a date with your 31-year-old boss.
That was the one date. That was who I was with.
Oh, my God.
What do you mean?
You should write a book.
Hold on. Here's another funny story. One time I went on a date with her. One time, a different date with her. I saw the movie Almost Famous, and when I got home, I just had to leave abruptly, and I ran to the back of my house and threw up. We'll be right back after this.
Okay.
Scarring movie experiences that our parents treated us to. I do want to clarify, I did not throw up because of the movie Almost Famous. I do think that movie is overrated, but I threw up because I hadn't eaten enough. And
yeah, that's the reason. You just had.
I went to the movies. I wasn't getting drunk. I had a lot of existential turmoil over the state of my relationship with my former boss. All right, we don't need to get into that this episode.
We went on 2 dates. Both to the movie.
More than 2 dates. Those were just the 2 movies. We also saw The Virgin Suicides on a date.
Okay,
we saw the Tao of Steve, which is a great movie. You should check that out with Donald Logue. So a lot of movies apparently on dates with her. What did you do? There was no internet back in 2001, was there?
I don't know, but were there bars?
There was a ground round. Cool. I might not have been old enough to drink.
Right.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about my movie experiences. We're here to talk about Pete's, because he grew up in England and he's seen only 3 movies in his entire life.
Scrooge, I Am Legend, and Scrooge 2.
Did you throw up immediately after seeing any of those movies like I did?
I did not. I think the only movie I've ever actually come close to being like was The Ring. I think that was the closest I've ever come to having a physical reaction.
The what?
The Ring.
Oh, I thought you said something else. That movie's pretty scary.
Well, apparently my kids think so too.
You showed your kids The Ring? Or just the videotape from it with
no.
crossing your fingers?
The entire movie. And I said, you got, like smoking cigars, like you got to finish this whole box, like Brewster's Millions. And I just made them watch the. No, of course not. I'm not that much of a shitty dad, but it's That's a movie I'll never let anybody watch in my household because.
So you think that's like the scariest movie ever?
It's the movie that has left such an indelible mark on my brain that I can't look at anyone with long hair.
But most of the time, when like a movie leaves an indelible mark on you, like scars you or something, it's from like your formative years. The Ring, you would have been like 25.
Yeah.
What happened?
Terrified. I don't know. I was by myself. I literally was in my apartment by myself
with like the lights out.
I was 25 years old, and I immediately turned on all the lights. And I don't think I slept that night. It was terrifying. The whole thing was horrible. So
some of the stuff we're going to get into is examples of like parents showing their kids movies and maybe shouldn't have shown them, right? So I know for me personally, one of the main reasons I had a kid was to show him my favorite movies. What's frustrating is you can't show your kids your favorite movies until they're like 15, right? So yes, there's a handful of movies. Like I can show him Star Wars and stuff, but like my kid is 9 and he still will like watch a movie and get bored if it's like, when's the adventure start? Like he needs more action. He's not there for like character development or plot really even that much. He just wants to see some action stuff, but he's not quite old enough to see like the real action stuff. Like somebody said they can't wait. The dad, Ben Len, said he can't wait to show his kids all 3 John Wicks and the 4th one, which isn't even out yet. There's so many gunshots to the head in the John Wick movies. It's unbelievable. It's like more than they say the F word in Goodfellas.
Well, hold on a second. Yes, that's true. However, has anyone seen Extraction?
The Chris
that's on Netflix. Speaking of like gunshots to various parts of the body, it is absolutely. It is some of the most intense fighting scenes I've ever. It's easily rivals John Wick. It's so good. I mean, I thought so.
God, really? You're saying that the Chris Hemsworth Netflix movie is as good as John Wick?
No, I'm not saying it's as good as John Wick. I'm saying that there are scenes, there are like choreography, like that's fight scenes that are easily equal. There's an entire scene that was so badass. I was like, oh my! I had to like pause the movie. It was so good. You gotta watch it.
Do you have to pay attention?
You definitely do not have to pay attention. It just kind of unfolds in front of you, and you're like, wow, that guy died really quick. And then you're like, oh, those guys died also very, very quick.
And then they'll be like, that was a cool scene, that kind of thing. Okay, good. Yeah. I'm going to take your recommendation. I do not at all trust your movie taste. We'll check it out.
Okay.
So what's funny is, as I said, like I want to show my kid like Die Hard and even like the John Wicks and even like Lethal Weapon or like Predator, right? And like they're just like they're a step up in terms of like realistic depictions of violence. Obviously Predator isn't realistic, even Die Hard's not realistic, right? But like the gunplay and the violence is just more real.
But now what about okay, so these are all like kind of hyper violent movies. I would say maybe I agree. I wouldn't call that, but that's more that is more kind of plot driven, but there is an element of like violence there.
Just the gunshot to the head early on is like a lot.
Exactly. But the movie that we just saw recently that we got the whole family watching, the greatest movie ever, Princess Bride.
Okay, that's coming up.
The best. Yeah.
I've shown my kid Princess Bride. So this is the thing. Right. There are some movies where like the subject matter is you're like above their pay grade, right? Whether it's violence or sex, right. or in some movies it's what's on screen, like the gore or whatever. And then there's some stuff where like, again, like my kid, he's not interested in like watching like a drama, right? He just wants to see shit happen. So I remember like when I was a kid, my favorite movie for a little while was The Lost Boys because it was fucking amazing. And then my next, the movie I consider like my entry into grown-up movies was this movie called Dead Again with Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson before she was huge. And it is not, it's pretty good. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think it's a little bit dated, but like, it's not like anything like, and then like even like A Few Good Men, right? Like that's another step up where it's like essentially G-rated, but like a drama, right? It's not the subject matter. It's like the pacing of it. It's dialogue and stuff. And kids don't really like that stuff that much. So sometimes you jump the gun and show them stuff like that where they just don't have the attention span. Yeah. And sometimes you show them, Pet Cemetery and they're like somebody came here and their life is ruined for a few years. Or that you show them The Ring when they're 25.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's see. What are some of the movies that we got?
So here's some of the movies people can't wait to show their kids, right? So the grad school dad says, I can't wait till my kids are old enough to watch a Mel Brooks with me. I discussed last week how we showed my kids Spaceballs, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, but but then you took it a step further and you said you don't like any Mel Brooks movies.
You're not a fan. I said I don't really like Mel Brooks, but I like I like The Producers, I like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein or so. But yeah, it's not my style of humor, really. Sue me, grad school dad. Sorry, different strokes.
Yeah.
DB7898 wants to show his kids Highlander. Have you seen Highlander?
Yeah, Highlander for me is tough because what's the main character's Scottish accent is so awful.
He's Christopher Lambert. He's a horrible actor.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's so horrific. Yeah. I know. If he had just been French, I think I would be able to suspend my disbelief more. So I get into the movie, but that takes me out of it every time.
I like that movie. I don't know if it's a good movie. He's a horrible actor.
It's so
Clancy
horrible.
Brown is the bad guy's good. There's a lot of beheadings and there's some like sex stuff. And I haven't shown my kid that. I think the beheadings might be a lot, but I haven't seen it in a long time. But like, so a lot of people complain that in America you can see all the violence you want and it'll still be like PG-13. But if somebody says 2 F words or there's a sex scene, it becomes R. And people are like, sex is natural. Sex is fun. You know, sex is best when it's one-on-one. Right?
I mean, if you're in 1994, it's more on 4-on-4 these days. Come on.
Yeah. Or wild things. But like people are like, how come they can see violence and not sex? And then you're just like, it's America, baby. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Good old America.
Anyway, so DB7898 says his son is named after a character from the Highlander cartoon. Quentin MacLeod. Yeah, I didn't know there was a cartoon either. I had to look it up. Anyway, so _Cypress R says, I can't wait to show my kid A Bronx Tale. He's only 2, but I'm excited for the future. I jumped the gun, not on A Bronx Tale, because I think Bronx Tale is overrated. Deal with it. But like, again, you get so excited. Like I showed my kid Karate Kid when he was like 7. And like large part of Karate Kid is like the social dynamics of like high school and stuff. And there's a love story. And like, he has no interest in that stuff. Right. So, and the bullying isn't really a thing for him. He's too little. Right. So I don't think it really registered. And now I worry that I spoiled it and he won't care when he's like 12.
In the saddest news ever is that my kids actually think A Karate Kid is with Jaden Smith.
You mentioned last week.
They've seen the movie, and that's what they think the Karate Kid is. So, and I haven't corrected them. Yeah.
NY Born 98 says she can't wait to show her kids The Goonies and every 70s and 80s horror movie, despite what their dad says. So I don't know if they're divorced or they're butting heads, and she's like, I'm showing them whatever I want. I don't care. And maybe he's a priest and he objects to that kind of thing. My wife worships The Goonies. We showed my kid The Goonies when he was like 5 or 6. Pretty violent movie.
I think The Goonies. I'm ready to go on The Goonies. I can't believe that hasn't been part of. We basically just wait till whatever movie's on either Prime or Netflix.
See, we've exhausted every movie. And our challenge now is my 4-year-old, the Hammer, is at the stage where he still only likes animated movies. Mm-hmm. And my 9-year-old won't tolerate animated movies anymore. He wants to see the live action stuff. And then, but you can't show him the adult stuff. So there's like a very limited range of things you can show. Here's an interesting one. Shan Boo Boo says, I am starting to let my 6-year-old watch Adam Sandler, Big Daddy, Waterboy. I'm considering it, but I feel like those might be like the sense of humor stuff is a little dicey, but I feel like there's bad words in those.
Well, I just also think you have to stylistically, it's a step above, you know, like I think just trying to your point about a movie that can hit on all levels, like for example, The Princess Bride, which is in and of itself like a good story with good characters, but then there's all that humor that's injected to it.
So much humor.
Kids like get different things. Yeah, and but you know, and so my 12-year-old can start to get some of those more nuanced jokes.
Yeah, but the younger ones will like the goofy stuff, but they still don't get the other stuff.
Exactly. But so that's why it's. I mean, there's not a ton of movies that we can do that with, but I'm definitely down for Goonies. I think we're ready for it. That's a good suggestion.
Well, if this is the thing, though, we showed my kid Goonies like 5 years ago.
Yeah, but that was you were too young for that, though.
Little Charmer 80 talks about this. She says, our kids are a little young, 6 and 2, to have been able to show them anything that's actually good yet. But they can't wait to show the 6-year-old Goonies, Big. Big has a lot of like boyfriend, girlfriend stuff, which my 9-year-old, we showed him that earlier this year. He liked it, but that stuff was too much for him. Ghostbusters, showed him Ghostbusters. That one works pretty well.
I think that could be a good one.
E.T., obviously, but my kid gets a little bored by E.T. It's a little slower paced.
All of my kids, all 3 of my kids will get freaked out by, and I'm just thinking of Ghostbusters.
Somebody says that down here, they saw E.T. and they're scarred for life.
Well, not E.T., but the Ghostbusters, where the woman turns into that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like the one scary part. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that might be, So that'd be interesting.
Little Charmer 80 also says her kid saw a picture of Turner and Hooch with Tom Hanks and wants to watch that. We showed that to Detective Munch, Turner and Hooch. That was all right. He likes kind of like the mystery stuff, but didn't work super well. And then she's excited to show her kids Harry Potter and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, like, even if you, especially probably if you love those stories, like the movies aren't good. And they're only made like 2 or 3 of them, and there's like so many of those. We showed my kid that again. I've shown my kid he's seen every single Marvel movie. He's seen every single Star Wars movie. No, he won't get any Spies Like Us stuff. Somebody showed their kid Fletch, and the guy even in the comment was like, he doesn't really get the jokes, but he laughs because we laugh. And I'm like, all right, I guess.
Yeah.
My kid will just get bored and like want to leave the room or start whining about wanting to turn something else on. And by then it's like, we've been watching it for 45 minutes and we don't have time to watch a whole different movie, and then you just get frustrated.
Yeah.
You mocking me? No,
I'm just, that's the whole thing. It just is, it's really first world problems. These are tough.
Oh, obviously,
times.
This whole podcast is first world problems. No. Except for the vaccines and illness episodes, which were dead serious. We were helping the world.
Back in the day, yeah.
So a bunch of people, they gave me some good instances where they showed their kids one of the movies they wanted to show them, and then what happened, and it went well. So Mambo 12-3-11 said Ghostbusters has been a hit. She has a 7 and 4-year-old, and they both like Ghostbusters and the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which my kid has seen, I think. He's also seen the new one, which he liked. He's also at that stage, like I was at his age, where every new movie I see, I love, especially if you see it in the theater. Loved every movie I saw in the theater, no matter what, except Never Cry Wolf. This was a weird one for me. I.flow.on says, my 2-year-old loves Wayne's World. Your 2-year-old doesn't love Wayne's World. Your 2-year-old's just sitting in front of a screen where there's noise.
That's right.
Sorry. And I'm not even trying to say like Mike Myers' humor is super sophisticated. I'm just saying the 2-year-old does not know what's happening. Her girls, 8 and 10, love Twins. Haven't shown my kid Twins.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I can't remember what. I haven't seen that in so
No,
long.
I haven't seen it. I'm not a huge Twins guy.
Really?
I like Danny DeVito, sort of.
Okay.
I mean, on Always Sunny, he's great. But I don't consider Twins a classic. It's just kind of there. It exists. The comedy stylings of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm good. Give me Kindergarten Cop any day of the week, though.
You know what? I want to show them Red Dawn.
Oh, my God. I can't wait. I can't wait. So this is what's funny, right? I said
something else.
I said my 9-year-old couldn't get Karate Kid, but I saw Karate Kid when I was 9. And my brother,
so hard.
My brother, and I loved it. And I saw it like 10 times. And my brother, who was 12, saw Red Dawn. And he fucking loved it.
I fucking loved Red Dawn so much.
I haven't seen the remake with your boy Chris Hemsworth, but I hear it's terrible.
The remake is garbage.
Camille NB says her kids are 10 and 12. They love Goonies and Apollo 13. So Apollo 13 is like a good movie. It's wholesome, right? And it's like factual. There's nothing, no dodgy stuff in it. But I think my kid would be bored. I don't think he would.
Slow. I thought it was slow. I mean, I thought it was good, but it was sorry.
S. Bladen says her 15-year-old loved the Three Amigos, Happy Gilmore, and Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, those are perfect for 15.
Oh my God, Three Amigos, yes. This is it. This is actually informational. I'm gonna start. I need to write all these down.
I've never been a big Three Amigos fan. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What?
I don't really like Martin Short.
Oh, stop! Really, he was awesome. He was perfect in that. Would you say I have a
great in Pure Luck with Danny Glover?
Okay.
You ever see that one?
I'll take it.
So this is more of a conversational thing. MN Long says her oldest two are 10 and 12, and they love horror movies. She says we just avoid sex and major gore. Why do you avoid the gore? Just because you're worried it'll scare them, or right? The sex, I understand, it will terrify them.
I think the gore. I was mentioning this before, but my kids get like are skittish mainly because we've overprotected them, and that's why
we all have, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is any scene where there's some sort of blood or scariness is too much for them.
So what's funny? So my 9-year-old doesn't really care. Like, I mean, like, I don't watch any hardcore stuff, but like most of it's kind of cartoonish violence, like the Marvel movies and Star Wars and stuff. But every once in a while, there'll be something a little more real with a gun. We watched that series on Netflix, Lock and Key. And he's mostly fine. It's like supernatural and the people dying. And then there's a scene where a dude gets a plastic bag put over his head and suffocated. He did not like that. Like when I did it to him, I was like,
yeah.
No, but he was like, that's like the most disturbed I've seen him by like a little bit of on-screen violence.
Yeah.
When I showed him Clockwork Orange, it didn't even bug him one bit. I'm kidding. Clockwork Orange freaks me out. The violence of that movie, there's a rape scene in that movie that is no bueno.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Anyway, Marla Jansen says she showed her kids Jurassic Park. 2 of them loved it and 1 ran away. And she just said her loss. We showed my kid Jurassic Park again. He's 9. He saw Jurassic Park like when he was 7. Any excuse.
All right, we get it.
I'm not bragging. I think it's bad. I think it's bad parenting. It's partially because I want to watch something decent. Like, so what can I get away with? May Faye showed her kid Beetlejuice. We showed our kid Beetlejuice too. She said she watched it at about age 9. Her kids are now 9 and 11, and they loved it too. It was pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
it's more comedy.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Nightmare Before Christmas. David the Case says not my favorite, but we showed my kid that. It's animated. It's a musical. You're pretty safe with that, right?
Yeah, you're fine.
I don't like it.
Still haven't shown my kids Star Wars yet.
Really?
It just hasn't.
Well, you got 2 older girls.
It just hasn't really happened yet. Yeah.
One of the reasons we had to show Detective Munch Star Wars is because he was starting to get spoiled by kids at school, and this is when he was like 4 and 5. Because of the resurgence of the movies and like the new trilogy, there's a lot more gear around, and people are wearing stuff, and parents are like getting into it and showing their kids earlier and stuff. And once I was like, he might get spoiled, I had to do it. I had to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. But it's, again, I think Star Wars is one of those movies that's, I mean, when you're 6, is that something you can really take in? Like the concept?
But that's the only reason. Why do you think the people who love it? It's because they saw it when they were between like 6 and 12.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just thinking
the only
more
reason
I was thinking more like
obsessed.
9 or 10 to be able to understand it, but maybe I'll show. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Paul Opolsky, you know who he is. You know his nickname.
Yeah.
He says he's shown his 3-year-old most of the original Star Wars trilogy. He left out some of the hand chopping and other dismemberment, which is a funny way to think about Star Wars. A bunch of dismemberments. He said he's mostly interested in lightsabers and space battles. I love it, and it's something we can bond over. Cool. But, like, here's the challenge I had. Is he going to get the big reveal in Empire Strikes Back, right? Like, you're 3. You like the spectacle of it. Like, are you spoiling the movie for him because he's going to know the plot point before he really grasps it? So then we show him at 8 and he gets it. Is that moment robbed of its impact because he's already seen it even before he really knew what was going on? You know what I mean? Do you even know what I'm talking about when I say the big reveal?
I think you're really overthinking this. I gotta be honest with you.
It's not just about Star Wars. I'm saying movies in general. Like if I show my kid the end of 7 and he knows her head is in the box when he's 3, is it really going to have impact when he's 10?
You know what? You make such a good point, Mike. How have you not had your own movie review show?
I don't understand why this entire podcast isn't about movies. Anyway, _3_KitKat30 says, I can't wait to show my kids Lord of the Rings. My son is 4.5, so it might be early. My kid got bored. And then she says, but he's seen Birdcage. The Robin Williams, Nathan Lane movie.
I don't understand. Yeah, my
Why
kids.
Has he seen Birdcage? Was he interested in it? I want to see the American remake of La Cage aux Folles.
Yeah. I heard Nathan Lane's performance is standout.
Yeah, it did. Yellowbug 319 says her favorite movie to watch with them, and this was the movie I mentioned earlier, is Labyrinth. So Labyrinth is Jennifer Connelly and David
Yeah,
Bowie.
we actually talked about that last week, I think.
I can never find it on streaming. And a lot of people call Labyrinth out. Yeah, and you talked about how much you love David Bowie's spandex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
I think that's a direct quote.
No, I said he looks so amazing in that spandex. Like his body simply will not quit.
How tall was he? The thin white Duke.
9'3".
Oh, that makes sense.
5'2". I have no idea.
She said showing her kids Lord of the Rings when he was 3 was a bad call. Yeah, you think? Unless you're trying to get him to nap.
Yeah, that doesn't make
sense. Lord of the Rings movies.
I will. My older daughter, I remember her when she was 9 or 10. She said her friend had seen Saw. Like her parents had let her watch Saw. I'm friends with her parents, and I was like, "What are you doing? Why would you? Why would?" And he's, I don't know. That's just the response. I don't know.
Well,
yeah.
You know what? We're gonna get into some bad calls. So,
all right.
J Bear Win, WINN, says my kids are 7 and almost 6. They have definitely watched some things that might be considered too old for them, like Jurassic Park, and they're thinking about watching Jaws. We just block the screen when anything graphic happens. So when I saw Temple of Doom in the theater, and the people get their hearts ripped out, in a very Steven Spielberg, PG way. It's actually the reason they came up with the PG-13 rating. But my dad would cover my eyes, and I remember being like, I can't wait till I'm at my friend's house and we watch this on tape so I can actually see his heart get ripped out because my dad covered my eyes the 2 or 3 times it happens in the movie. J Bear Win says she does that with her kids, but it's not easy. No. In the theater, maybe if you've seen it before, but at home, you're on your phone. You're just glad the kid's being quiet. You're not going to catch that.
My question is, how did your dad know the heart ripping was coming?
I don't know.
Have you seen it before?
Right? I find it impossible to believe that my dad
some holes in the
vetted
story.
Temple of Doom or was such a big fan. Although he loved Raiders because it's one of the greatest movies of all time. But anyway, Half an Acre says she showed her 4-year-old the first Harry Potter, and her kid didn't finish it because she was so scared because Harry's parents were killed in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. She said, I told her we had to finish the movie so she could see that Harry wins. So she did, and it helped, but that was a close call. I was worried I ruined her from that whole realm.
Yeah.
They read one bad experience turns the kid off from the entire J.K. Rowling expanded universe.
Yeah, you know what? What turned me off of was the first opening credits. It was about 2 minutes in.
It said Harry Potter.
I'm out. Yeah, when Harry Potter title came on, I was like, okay, I'm out. I never read into Harry Potter.
O.G. Brenna, who is an old friend of mine, says her husband was excited to show their daughter Bad News Bears. 3 minutes in, we're explaining what slurs are. See, that's the problem. That movie is real dicey on a lot of different levels nowadays. Not politically correct, as they say. All right, AKM Perel 1011 says she showed her kid Harry Potter at 2. Probably too young, you think? You're not going to remember it. Melly 1980 says we regret showing our kids Star Wars and Lord of the Rings too early. Lorita 49 says I regret showing them Howard the Duck. I was very excited to watch with them, and then I had to shut it off. I still don't know who the hell let me watch Howard the Duck over and over as a child. There's perverted weird stuff in it.
Yeah, most of these 80s movies specifically, they are so snowballs and they're so crude, and they're just they're raunchy. These raunchy.
They're definitely raunchy. But Howard the Duck, the point of it was to be an adult comic book. Before, as the comic book it existed as. Here's what's funny. I've never seen it. I've only seen bits of it. But I did, in the newspaper for the ads for it, it had a 1-800 number you could call and talk to Howard. And I got in trouble for apparently calling that and wasting money trying to talk to Howard the Duck, which I didn't even see the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe my parents prevented me from seeing it because I got in trouble for calling his number.
There's a Howard the Duck reference in a movie. I can't remember what it
Guardians
is.
of the Galaxy 2 and the last scene, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
I think it's Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
So the Robins Way, the.robens.way says I regret letting my daughter choose B movie. We watch B movie every fucking day. I can't wait to show them The Sandlot, Goonies, Never Ending Story, Karate Kid, and North. First of all, no one likes North. I've never seen it, but no one likes it.
It's crazy. Never Ending Story. Yeah, I have to get involved.
It's terrible. Never Ending Story is terrible. It's terrible.
What are you talking about?
Have you seen it recently?
No, but the tray with the horse, that's the saddest.
I liked it when I was a kid too, and then I showed it to my kid. I showed it to my kid, and it's terrible.
What about Falcor? He doesn't hold up? He's hot.
No. I mean, somebody's clearly holding him up. That's what you mean. I've never seen B-movie either, and guess what? I never will.
B-movie's good.
Okay, H.S. Scholl. This one's pretty obvious. She said, we showed our kids Paranormal Activity. They were horrified.
Yeah.
Pete's never seen that. He's too scared.
No, I mean, come on. That's incredibly... I was joking about showing my kids The Ring, but you've actually shown them Paranormal Activity? That's
not me.
I know.
H.S. Scholl.
I'm talking to H. Scholl.
So that's weird because that's like people might believe that's real because it's like it's the verite style of filmmaking where Blair Witch, where they pretend it's a documentary.
People being adults, let alone kids.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Brangella 8 says, it was recently my turn to pick the family movie and I chose Contagion.
Good job.
Mom of the Year, she says. A lot of people have been watching that.
Yeah, apparently that's like a trending on...
I don't need to be
I wonder why.
Yeah, me too. Let's see, what else do we got here?
Aquaman?
Your parent? Well, Aquaman. She says her kid's favorite superhero movie is Aquaman. That's Kendra CM. That movie is like 8 hours long. It's so bad.
And not only that, but it is so disturbing. The most disturbing scene in the entire movie is a young Nicole Kidman married to a clearly Maori living in Nova Scotia. But they're both living in Nova Scotia. And he's got this very sort of Pacific Island accent and look about him, and you're like, how did this guy become a lighthouse keeper in Maine? That's the part of the story I just wanted to go into.
That's the least realistic part.
I couldn't take it anymore.
Well, you know what? The heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, I guess.
Blue-Eyed Family says that she showed her kids Bambi. They had just lost their dad, and maybe it was bad timing.
Yeah.
She said, I honestly forgot the mom died. I hope you forgot, because otherwise that's twisted.
Well, also, sorry to hear, man. Wow.
SL Reed, that is terrible. SL Reed 92 says, my hubby thought it was smart to let our 4-year-old watch Zombieland. So my wife loves Zombieland, and it's funny, and it's an entertaining movie, but it is really gory and violent.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's super ultra gory.
But it's easy to forget. Like, if you watch the movie and you like it and it's funny and entertaining, and then like a year goes by and you're like, oh, let's check that out again. Like we watched the sequel recently, and then the sequel is really violent too, and you forget that part of the movie because you just remember the laughs and the good times.
Were there good times in the sequel? I didn't get through the whole movie.
I like this one. So XXKD36XX says, we let our son watch Jaws at 4. He was a mess when the shark got blown up. Cried about it for days. So the kid was rooting for the shark? Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what she's saying? Because if so, I love that kid. A bunch of people mentioned Goonies. Carrie Demar says she watched Teen Wolf recently with the 8 and 10-year-old. I showed my kid that when he was like 7. It's so absurd. She says they love the word dick in that movie. There's lots of references to like weed and drinking beer and van surfing, which you don't know why your kid's van surfing unless they're a werewolf, because werewolves are really good at that. They're at basketball.
Well, first of all, their balance is so good.
And in Teen Wolf 2, they're excellent boxers.
Oh, boxers. Oh, yeah.
It's so stupid. It's an unbelievable premise of a movie. I just can't even believe it happened. Alpha Gen Mama says her son has nightmares about the lava from Moana. So the cartoon movies, they can be like, there's some traumatizing moments in some of those Pixar movies. When I was a kid, The Last Unicorn just had a really creepy vibe. A bunch of people mentioned Coraline coming up. Is it Coraline or Coraline? I don't know. But they talk about how that scarred their kids, and I think that's honestly a really creepy movie. It's like an alternate universe of her parents, and they have buttons for eyes, and they want to. It's really creepy for like little kids. But you think because it's a cartoon, it's safe. It ain't so safe. That's a creepy movie.
Yeah, isn't that a Tim Burton?
No, it's like, I think it's the guy who was like his partner who happened to do Nightmare Before Christmas, Henry Selick. But I'm not even positive about that. Jasmine Reyes 013 says she was excited to show her kids Space Jam, and they said they were bored. I'm too old for Space Jam. I missed that window on that. There's a range of people younger than us that love Space Jam. I don't want to see Looney Tunes interact. It's so stupid.
It is unbelievable.
People are going to get mad at this.
They are.
Because there are a lot of people that love Space Jam. There's a sequel coming out with LeBron.
There's a sequel. Yeah.
A new legacy or something.
I don't know.
Are you watching that Jordan documentary, the Bulls documentary?
Not yet. I'm almost. I just got to finish Tiger King first.
Oh my God! No, you don't. Just ditch it and watch The Last Dance. It's awesome.
I gotta watch Tiger King.
So Malene B, I've never even seen this movie. I've only seen it a little bit, but I bring this up because I know my wife and some of her friends like it. Malene B 1113 said, I showed my 7-year-old Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And she said her sister, who has shown her kids every Marvel movie, clutches her pearls and says Girls Just Want to Have Fun is very inappropriate because Sarah Jessica Parker sneaks around and lies. So it sounds like you have a little judgment going on.
It sounds like we're throwing some shade.
Meanwhile, she's watching Winter Soldier with her kids.
Exactly. You know what? The guy has a metal arm. He's going to punch you in the face. Get over it. He's not sneaking around and lying.
Like Sarah Jessica Parker. I hate her, by the way. I hate Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, you do?
I've never met her personally. I just hate her persona.
Okay. I'm glad you were able to let that out.
I've come to terms with it.
Okay.
I've come to terms with it.
Good.
All right. So a couple other people said Space Jam. I don't understand it. Christy00 says we let my 9-year-old asthmatic son watch Signs, where not only are there aliens, but the kid almost dies from an asthma attack in the basement. He said my kid's 12 now and he's still mad at me. 3 years later, how could you show me that? Where someone with my asthma dies.
No,
aliens though.
He's like, this is really one of M. Night Shyamalan's. It's like his third best movie. Why would you show me this?
Is it really? It might be his third best movie, and that's insane.
Or is it his second best movie?
No, it's Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, and then
Signs. I don't know. I thought it was Sixth Sense and Signs, maybe. Or
it might be
Unbreakable was
Unbreakable, and then the other one is this stupid Split. People like Split. Anyway, I have a theory, or I have, when I saw Signs in the theater, there's a moment before the end where I thought it should have been the end, and I had a reason why they should have tweaked it and made that the end. I'm not going to get into it now. If you want to know, message me. It's provocative.
No, honestly, don't. Save yourself all some trouble. Just don't message Mike. It's really simple. So wait, what about The Village? That was his other movie. Oh my God,
The Village is terrible.
No, it's okay.
No, it isn't.
It was slow, but it was okay.
It's so stupid. It's almost as stupid as The Happening with Mark and Mark.
But it was so good.
Evil Plants. So Mary Carroll _ says, even though it's a kid movie, I regret showing my son Coraline. It's effing creepy, and he's had countless nightmares about it. A possessed mother with buttons for eyes who steals children.
You know what?
That's too much. It's creepy.
Exactly right. Why on earth would I even try and even at the possibility of my kid having a tough time
nightmares?
Yes. I'm just out. So you want to watch a movie? Watch B movie. All you want. It's fine. It's good. It's not bad.
Right. Like maybe you want to show your kid something you loved, but if that movie might give them nightmares, you're just ruining your own life.
I know.
The trade-off isn't worth it. So this is funny. So Jasmine Reyes 013 says, it's insane how inappropriate movies from our own childhood are. Yeah. You go back and watch them as an adult and you just think, I should not have been watching that shit. It truly shows how times have changed. She's like, one example, I loved Dumb and Dumber as a kid. I was probably like 5 the first time I watched it. And this is where I shoot myself in the head because I was like 20 when Dumb and Dumber came out, Jasmine. She said I would not show it to my 6 and 8-year-old. I have not shown them Dumb and Dumber. There's some risque stuff, but there's some risque stuff that they wouldn't even get. It flies over their head. And sometimes I'll be watching a movie with my kid and he'll ask me what a word is or what a joke means. And I'll just go, I don't know. Even though I know, I just say, I don't know. And then the next thing happens and he's still watching it. You can get away with avoiding some of that stuff.
No, my biggest concern with Dumb and Dumber is that my kids are going to come away with the most annoying sound in the world. And that's all they're going to be doing. It's just like, I can't have that happen. I'm sorry.
But I want my kids to have a good sense of humor. And I think Dumb and Dumber is very funny. Not that it's necessarily formative, right? It's still like slapstick and the old school stuff. But I do not want them to like talk with their butt, like from Ace Ventura and stuff. And then there's just weird stuff. Like somebody mentions that they watched Mrs. Doubtfire again recently, and they're like, there's definitely some like transphobic and like weird stuff in there that wouldn't really fly today. That I think kids, you don't want to inoculate them into that kind of attitude, right, Pete?
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, the more, 100%. And the more
we should do a specific episode that's a deep dive into Mrs. Doubtfire and how it's inappropriate.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire, has it aged well? Yeah. But I definitely am now. I didn't think too much about this. This was definitely your topic that you wanted to talk about. But I think the more I think about it, I'm missing out. I got to show my 12-year-old. I'm Goonies, Stripes, Three Amigos. Yeah, man.
I saw Stripes in the theater. Yeah,
I feel like I'm sleeping on this. So, because we're at a point where we're watching shows together, but shows, they take effort, and I kind of
commitment.
I'm looking forward to more of like the one hits, and this is good. I'm gonna do this. Maybe Full Metal Jacket.
Well, that's what we're going to get into right here, because now we're going to get into some viewers, some of our listeners' experiences when they were kids, and movies that they maybe should not have seen at a impressionable young age. Ian T. Cummings. I said Ian like we're talking about Ian Ziering.
Yep.
Ian T. Cummings says, my mom sent me out with my aunt and cousin to the drive-in one night. It was my first time at the drive-in. My cousin was like 14. I was 8. The movie was fucking Full Metal Jacket. It took me to my 20s to not be scared of basically all movies because of that. That's a tough one to see. The beginning, the basic training is rough, and then when they're in the war, that's
oh my god, scene. Totally. The sniper scene. Ugh.
Ashley and the Bees says, my parents owned a video store when I was a kid. I always tell people I was raised by slasher films on a pop-out mattress. I was way too young to watch movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, but I loved them all. Because of that, one of my favorite hobbies growing up was inviting friends over who had never seen more than a PG film and showing them horror movies. She says, it was my favorite, and I don't know if she means the experience of doing that was her favorite or the miniseries It was her favorite.
The absolutely horror, terrifying, inducing horror series It is what she's talking about.
So the production value is not as good. The acting is not as good, but Tim Curry as Pennywise is much better and is generally creepier and scarier than the new movie version of It.
Here's how you can scare people real easily. You just take an old-timey photograph and you have a tiny little clown making his way up to you into the camera. And guess what? That'll solve your sleeping problems for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So we watched it again recently, or probably last October. And I was surprised at how well, at the very least, like the scary parts held up in Tim Curry, and it was creepy. So I will definitely sign off on it. I don't like the new one. It's all like jump scares and like shaky stuff.
Yeah.
Did you like it? Did you see it?
I saw the new one. It was definitely not as scary. I mean, it was actually a little like, it was much less scary.
Yes.
Than Tim Curry's version. I mean, him in the saying, "Don't you want it?" and then just repeating that, like just anyone repeating the phrase the same time, like over and over again, and then getting more and more. It's
in your face.
Terrifying. It's terrifying.
With that makeup, I love it.
Way more terrifying than any special effects that are nowadays.
Millennial Mama 90 says, my kids are too young to have seen anything cool, but my dad clearly had no concept of a purpose. So that's a good point, right? Like, kids are definitely a little bit more sheltered. Like, we're more involved, maybe. No offense to our parents, except yours.
Some offense, yeah.
But like, I would just sit like in front of HBO and like watch stuff all the time. Now, like, there's not that much that my kids are putting on that I'm not aware of. I don't know if that's because of streaming or just because I'm around more than my dad was.
You're on YouTube picking all sorts
of stuff. But she says, I was like 7 and he had all 4 of us kids watch Child's Play. I had nightmares for years. I always literally sprinted up the stairs, jumped off my bed to avoid getting my Achilles heel slashed. And it went so deep that I used to sleepwalk and throw all my dolls out the window. What the? I also couldn't go into the video store because I knew where the boxes were displayed and I had PTSD and it would bring me right back to the first night I watched it. Child's Play.
This sounds like
hilarious.
This literally sounds like my reaction to The Ring. Like at 20.
It really does.
I mean, yeah. That's right. That's the correct response.
I liked horror movies when I was a little kid. I love like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. I really wanted to see Child's Play, and I wanted we were all going to the movies one weekend. And I was trying to lobby my family to go see Child's Play, and they wouldn't let me. Instead, we had to go see Working Girl. What's funny? You know what's funny? Fucking Working Girl's a great movie. I didn't like it then. I love it now.
I know. It's actually a really good movie.
Let the river run. Right? You guys want me to sing some more? It's been a while.
That's horrible. You know what's a great movie, but that I was young when I saw it, but I was able to, maybe I was like 11 or 12, was The Thing. That's kind of like
producer Nate's favorite movie of all time. That's producer Nate's favorite movie of all time. I watched that a couple weeks ago during the quarantine.
Yeah, okay.
It is good.
Did you watch it just recently?
Yeah, I think it was on like Amazon Prime. I watched it like a month ago.
Those special effects totally hold up. Like, they're amazing.
They're amazing, but they're also like a little bit like they're outrageous in some spots, and it's really funny. Like, it's fun. It's not funny. It's fun when like the head's all weird and it's all weird and the dogs and stuff. It's really weird stuff. But yeah, very good movie. Jurassic_Stark says she was 8 and her brothers were 7 and 10, and her dad took them to see The Last Boy Scout, which I saw in the theater. From Shane Black, very highly paid screenwriter at the time. He did Lethal Weapon and stuff. Head or Gut. Some good stuff. Real over-the-top quips in that. Okay. From Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis.
I'm surprised.
But not appropriate for one of the Halle Berry plays a stripper in it. Not appropriate for a 7-year-old.
I'm surprised that Jurassic Stark didn't mention his namesake. Yeah, as being formative.
How about this one? _KitKat30 says, what constitutes as little? Because I must have said something about when you were a little kid. She says, I watched Boogie Nights with my dad when I was like 13 or 14. My dad was like my best friend and always very against censorship to film and music, etc. Good for him. She said, which I can appreciate, but it's never not awkward to watch a movie about porn with your dad.
No.
That's true. But at the same time, like, it's not like the movie is a sophisticated movie.
Yeah. And
she's a little bit old enough to understand it. It's not quite like a porn movie. Obviously, there's some very weird stuff in it because there's some simulated recreation and stuff. But at least you saw it. Yeah, great movie to see.
Yeah, there you go. At least you saw it.
At least you saw it with your dad in the theater. That must have been weird, actually, now the more that I think about it. Sawston621 says, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street at 6. Woke up that same night to the Tooth Fairy, who was really Freddy Krueger trying to kill me. Every time I lost a tooth, I simultaneously had a nervous breakdown.
Oh, my God. That is just, that's too much. That's too young to watch Freddy Krueger.
Somebody said, Yellowbug319 says, I will never forget seeing Children of the Corn when I was about 6 or 7. That's creepy. Not a very good movie, but definitely some creepy stuff. Britton Lamers says, her parents went to Titanic when she was 7 or 8, and they were mortified during the French girl scene. Draw me like one of your French girls. You know that movie well, I'm sure.
Yeah, very, very well.
Has your daughters found it? Do they like it?
I always thought Billy Zane's character just got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, come on. What a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
I hope you enjoy your time together. Has Mergers and Acquisitions seen Titanic?
No, of course not.
Well, so
not for any other reason than I just don't want to sit for 5 hours watching a ship sink.
Well, you know what? Don't reduce.
I'm sorry, but that's it. I didn't love it. I'm in the camp of like, wasn't my favorite movie.
It's better than Avatar. In your face.
I'm not saying it's not, so it's not in my face.
So Britton Lamers also says when she was 10, her parents apparently hadn't learned their lesson and took her to see Jarhead, which is about like basic training for Marines or something. I've never seen it. She says we learned what masturbation was.
I think it's like, it's Gyllenhaal, right? And
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
In Iraq or something. Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Go for it.
So the Robin's Way says, this is another Child's Play person. My dad showed me Chucky when I was about 5 or 6. So disturbing. I'm a massive horror buff now to this day, but I cannot deal with that evil doll. I also went back to my mom's house because she had divorced parents and quoting Con Air when I was way too young to be watching stuff like that. Con Air is pretty violent.
It is. But it's Nick Cage is so good in that movie, though.
Is he? You know, he's playing Tiger King in a TV series that's coming out.
Is he?
Yep. Joe Exotic. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
They're doing a docu-series, like a fictionalized retelling or something. It's only just starting production, but he's playing Joe Exotic.
Amazing.
Seems like a good fit. Alicia Mowry says, my mother took my sister and I to see Mean Girls in the theater when I was 8, and she's very conservative, so I really have no idea why she thought that was a good idea. I can't wait for my 4-year-old to be old enough to watch Harry Potter, which ironically I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid because magic was inappropriate.
Oh.
I lived down the street from an evangelical Christian. Like, one of my good friends growing up, his mom was a lunatic Christian, and we had him over. We had him do like my birthday to watch E.T., and she wouldn't let him come because she thought it was worshiping a false idol. Apparently, I don't know if she meant like Spielberg or E.T.
What she didn't realize is your entire shrine devoted to this extraterrestrial at your household.
She was actually dead on.
She was dead on. It was
dead
actually
on. And then she also wouldn't. She got mad that I showed her son the making of Thriller, which was like a video that was on, like, you could buy, or was on MTV or something, because she thought it was worshiping the occult. She was a fun lady. We had good times, me and her. But I think that's funny. She probably would not have enjoyed Harry Potter either, for the same exact reasons. Not. Mrs. Johnston says, my dad took me to Something About Mary when I was 15. She said it was awkward, just like Boogie Nights.
Yeah, that's awkward. I think, anytime has to do with like dating or
the cum scene.
Oh,
Dad,
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I have no idea. No, nothing. Gotta go. Popcorn?
See you later. Amelia in the Mitten says, I saw Poltergeist as a 5-year-old and I wouldn't go near my closet for weeks after. I still can't watch it. I saw that when I was little, and that freaked me out, but it was the tree scene. But I still consider that one of the scariest movies, but that's probably because I saw it when I was like 8 or 10 on like HBO or whatever, and I just carry the memory of that first experience of being scared with me, you know?
Yeah, I saw Poltergeist when I was pretty young too, but I never saw the whole movie. I think I just saw parts of it and was absolutely terrified.
It still holds up.
Horrible old woman just with that voice, and it was.
What do you mean? Zelda Rubinstein, who comes to the house and clears it? This house is clear.
Who talks like a baby? Yes.
Yeah.
She's an old woman who talks like a baby.
The hero of the film?
Is she the hero of the film? Isn't it Craig T. Nelson? The one who accidentally bought the house on the Indian burial ground? Give him a break.
Yeah, you knew! You didn't move the bodies!
He's a hardworking guy. He got a great deal on a piece of land.
That's anger problems.
You should see what it's worth now. Just go on Trulia.
At the end, the house shrinks into a box. It's not worth anything. Sam D. Stanford said, I watched Pet Sematary when I was 6 or 7. She said, the sister scarred me for life. I haven't seen that. I've only seen like half of it. Not interesting.
No, I haven't seen
the remake stinks.
I haven't seen Pet Sematary.
There's another person says, Cat Fudge FUJ 213 says, my dad let me watch Full Metal Jacket when I was 6. Traumatized, never saw it again. You think?
Yeah.
What's your major malfunction, numbnuts? Oh, I saw Full Metal Jacket when I was 6. That's my major malfunction. Someone should not have shown that to me.
You know what took
me? Watching Eyes Wide Shut.
I think I learned like 2 years ago, maybe last year, that it was Vincent. I don't even know how to pronounce D'Onofrio. How do you pronounce his last name?
Oh yeah. Who is Gomer Pyle? Yeah.
Who is Gomer Pyle? I was like, what?
He's
that
huge.
Was crazy. Yeah, he was absolutely.
He
massive.
Was the star of my favorite Law and Order series, Criminal Intent, because he was like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, you can. Well, okay.
I'm not a big Law and Order guy. I'm not going to watch SVU. I don't need that kind of stuff. But the Criminal Intent stepped out of the box a little bit. He was like a superhero. It was great.
Yeah. What's his last name? How do you pronounce his last name?
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio. Okay. Yeah.
Wake up, man.
I don't know.
You know? So here's S. Bladen says, my parents made me watch Labyrinth and I'm permanently damaged. Why? Was it by David Bowie?
Yeah.
Scary? I haven't seen it in a long time.
Do the ball move with the globe, that orb.
Well, there's something with like hands on a door or something. I don't really remember. Is it scary?
I don't think so. I mean, we're talking never-ending story scary.
I've literally tried to get my 9-year-old to watch it by saying it's about a big sister who hates her little brother. And I'm like, you can relate. You would also like your little brother to be kidnapped and taken away. Why won't you watch this? But it's not on streaming the way that some of these other movies are. This one I think is funny. Mama Jody, Geauxdy, says she showed her kid Goonies. Apparently, her 6-year-old was scared shitless of sloth. You can laugh at sloth. It was a makeup. It was a football player. It wasn't an actual like person who was dropped on their head and their face was misshapen. It was an actor with special effects.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and the whole thing was a great movie, and
Everybody
I will show.
Goonies.
Yeah,
everybody.
absolutely.
I saw that in the theater. My brother was going with some older friends, and I made them. I forced my mom to let me tag along.
Yeah,
with Joelle Guidon.
Nice.
She was.
All right. What about have your kids seen Lord of the Rings yet?
My oldest has seen the first one. I think he got bored like halfway through the second one. I don't even remember if we finished the first one. They're real long. They're bloated. It's just a lot of walking. Like, they're not for kids. The Hobbit, maybe, except they turned The Hobbit into like 6 movies that are the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the Lord of the Rings, but I don't know if I'm not sure if we're ready to show those yet. I mean, like, to your point, they're just kind of long. And
what have you shown your kids?
Like I said, it's not for any intent of not wanting to show them stuff. I just realized that
it's not a movie guy.
We're just not really watching movies. We're watching more TV shows, and
you know what? Shift gears.
Yeah, I am going to shift gears because I've been asleep at the wheel. Oh yeah.
Watch that.
Yeah, Flight of the Navigator.
Somebody mentioned Sandlot. I showed my kid Sandlot. He hates sports. I was hoping maybe something like that would get him into it a little.
I'm not into Sandlot.
I didn't.
Yeah,
like
I'm not really.
Again, that was another. That's like Space Jam, where it was like we were a little bit too old when it came out, so it doesn't hit us the same way.
Yeah. I'm thinking either like Full Metal Jacket. We'll start easy, like Full Metal Jacket, and
Child's Play,
and then go into Child's Play,
and then
just kind of wrap it up with Boogie Nights, or maybe Dances with Wolves, something. Nice.
This weekend I'm gonna show my kid Faces of Death.
Yeah, maybe 8mm. 8mm, maybe.
Oh my God, with Machine.
Yeah, the Machine.
this thing called Machine. What a terrible movie. That's the same guy who wrote Seven, by the way.
Ah, perfect. So, do we have any other movies, or what do we got?
I don't think so. Somebody said that they were traumatized by the bloody leg in Dances with Wolves. Rachel Bush Jones said that. I've never seen Dances with Wolves. Fun fact.
Oh,
it didn't interest me. And I'm a Kevin Costner stan, as the kids say, but not for Dances with Wolves.
Yeah. No, the bloody leg was the whole catalyst for how he got to be.
Was it his leg, and they nursed him back to health?
Exactly. Yes, correct. He was tired.
What was his girlfriend's name?
Sits by the river. I don't know.
Oh my God! If you had pulled that out, that would have been. That's not what it is. That was pretty close, I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. It was something like just tired of this guy dances with wolves all the time.
For some reason, it's Mary McConnell, and for some reason, I've seen the part of the movie where they're paired off or something like that is said, and they say her name, and I can't remember it.
Yeah, I don't know what her name is.
She's in Sneakers. You show your kids Sneakers. That's a good movie too.
All right, I will. Cool. All right, so let's see. Do we got anything else? Did we get it all?
Well, we had one comment from our Sick Kids episode where we were talking about man flu, and we said it was the most dangerous flu on earth. Russell Johnson, who's been going through our back catalog, apparently found that episode, and he said this aged well. In the middle of the quarantine and the pandemic, sometimes, comes back to bite us. We make light of things, Pete. That's what we do.
Yep, we do. And guess what? We got absolutely pwned. I think that's the right use of that word. We got
P-W-N-E-D.
Yep, by Mr. Russell Johnson. Thank you, sir. Thank you for pwning us. You can pwn us, too, if you comment on episodes. We'd love that.
Or you give us 5 stars. Totally,
or you can give us stars.
On Apple.
Yeah, exactly. But this is we love it. We love hearing from you guys, and
the movie suggestions are really going to change Pete's life.
Yes, they really are. I'm
the rest of quarantine.
I'm getting on this now. Yeah, this is great. Got some good.
Nobody helped me. I've shown my kids almost all of those, for better or worse. I'm out of stuff.
You know what, Mike? I don't think anybody can help you at this point. To be honest, I think
it's hurtful, Pete. Everyone can change and grow.
Okay. Well.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Just come on. That's not true.
Human beings don't change.
No, of course not. Look at us. We're already used up. All right.
Check us out wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe, listen, rate us, give us comments on Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere you want. And we'll catch you next week.
Catch you next week.
It's already May.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
Bye.
I don't know why you would still be watching this isn't a Marvel movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.